Hi everybody and welcome back to my modeling channel. So today we're gonna build another World War II veteran. It's a Hurricane Mark 1 from Eduard, scale 172, and that's the Profi pack edition. I think I really fall in love with those ones as they are really beautiful kits, so I really enjoy those. So let's open the box and see what we have inside. So this kit comes a little bit more simple as the other one I had previously. There is only one big sprue, but I think everything is there and very well detailed. So, beautiful. Okay, so here what we have, it's our fuselage, and I can see that all the panel lines are slightly engraved. It's a beautiful kit and a beautiful design. So I don't know if we are able to see. Let's try to change the lights, but it's very difficult to see all the panel lines that we have. But it's really a beautiful kit. So what we have here is all the details for the cockpit. You have lots of structure panel will most probably go inside the cockpit. So we can see that the cockpit is here, well detailed. The tail is in one part, and basically the horizontal stabilizer is in two parts. So we have that part, and here we have the other ones. And basically we'll be able to put the flight controls in different position, which is really nice. The gear doors are here. We have options for different type of prop. We have different nose cone, propeller cone, 3 of them, so it depends on which version we're going to build. And it's really a beautiful one. Alright, let's move on now to the clear part. So you have the options to open the canopy. So you have the windscreen, the canopy itself, the landing lights, the visor of course, and the mirror that you will have the options to put on the kit. But it's really beautiful. Then there is some photo etch part, as you can see, so the regular ones for different panel and most probably the floor and some air filter. And then the cockpit basically is very well detailed, as you can see here. So you have all the cockpit options, all the panels and the instruments, and who has been painted already. So it's really a lovely little kit. It comes of course with all the masking tape, as I had on our Profi pack edition. Now we have a real booklet for that Hurricane, all the part that you're gonna have to use, and really all the details what you need to remove before putting everything on. So it's really a beautiful kit that we have here. So there will be quite a lot of details that we are able to put and add on different part of the kit itself. And it comes with 4 different options. So different pilots who served during the Battle of Britain, and very interesting. I wonder if those are the Free French or something, because I see the Normandy Yemen had that things on the casserole with the three colors. But I'm not gonna check this out. So we have 6 different painting options, and you have an extra patch as well for all the panel and the windows that you need to add decals on. So it's really a beautiful kit, and I enjoy building this. And you can see that here is the decal sheet, well protected, and the panel lines on the other side. So really a beautiful little kit. I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy doing that. So enough of talking, and let's start building. So we're gonna start this build by painting the interior, and for this I will need a green color. So I will paint the interior of the fuselage, the wheel bay basically, and all the other structure like the seats and so on. Then we're gonna start working basically on the inside of the aircraft first. So we are going to use, of course, the parts provided by the kit and some photo etch parts. So we're gonna start initially on the seat. And of course, with the photo etch part, you need sometimes a file if you have some a little bit of that metal remaining. So this is the case at the moment, and that's the cushion basically of the pilot seat. Then we're gonna do a little bit of a work, and then we're gonna use super glue basically to fix all those photo etch parts. The great point of most of those photo etch parts from Eduard they have been pre-painted, so which really leave a lot of room and save a lot of time as well. So what we're going to do after that, there was some holes to put on the kit. Basically, that's I had to do an opening for the seat belt, and that required just a little bit of extra work, but nothing really too difficult. And this is where basically we're going to be able to insert the seat belt. So after that, we'll be able to basically glue our pilot seat, and then we're going to work out the seat belt. So for this I will use the pre-painted photo etch part, and as you can see, well, it goes pretty easily, but that's why I was using that hole before. And then this one comes in two parts, and but very easy to handle. So after dry brushing the pilot seat, we're gonna paint basically do a little bit of a paint touch up, and then we're gonna move on to the instrument panel. So the kit provides a 3D instrument panel. That's for the regular kit, but as we have some photo etch parts that require to basically level this down to be able to use the photo etch part. So the cockpit basically, I mean the instrument panel is in 3 parts, as you will see, and we're gonna fix it basically on the panel itself, basically using some super glue as well, and but that worked very easy. I have to say that these work, I mean, are giving you such a beautiful final result. Is beyond any expectation. I mean, you really have really a lot of details. Sometimes it's even sad to have such a small scale, because you could see really everything. So we're gonna move now toward the fuselage, and there are some other panels that has to be added. So that require basically some a little bit of trimming, and then we're gonna be able to add those panels directly on our aircraft. So basically you use the photo etch parts, and as you can see, well, those are straight, so you need to use a toothpick. I mean, this is what I did. I use a toothpick to really have those photo etch part panels to get on the form, and getting the form of that fuselage. So after that, well, there is a little bit more, and of course still some more photo etch parts, and those are it's basically a pocket where you would slide any flight manuals or I don't know, charts, things like that. So that's give you a little bit more reality to the kit. As you can see, I mean, this kit is really realistic. I mean, we have a lot of details, especially for the interior. I mean, you have all those tubular structures, all those little photo edge parts are related to flight control levers and throttle, propeller control. So this is working really well. I mean, this is giving you so much details on such a small kit. So we're now getting closer, a little bit closer to closing that cockpit. So we're gonna add the instrument panel inside, and then we're gonna fix the pilot seat as well. And as you can see, you have really everything you need. Nothing is I mean, the pilot seat was really hanging out on the wall basically, and this is giving us quite an interesting sight basically of that aircraft. So what we will do after that, we're gonna start using some of this wash, and that's gonna give more reality, because that's gonna be an accent panel lines. So basically that's gonna give us a little bit more reality. Like those cockpit were not completely clean, of course, so there was sometimes oil stain and everything, so that gives us a little bit extra reality for that. Now that our fuselage has been glued together, we're gonna fill up all the gaps around that fuselage using some Tamiya putty. So that's the usual stuff, and once it's dry, of course, we're gonna remove the extra putty and to see the result. But not a lot of work. I mean, quite a long word, time consuming, but not a difficult task. So after finishing the fuselage, it's time to move on to the wings. So we're gonna initially start working on the wheel well, and those are the parts, and then we're gonna start working on the main wings and the undercarriage. So those parts have to be, of course, we have to get ready the parts. There is a little bit of extra plastic to remove. Then we're going to be able to fit the wheel well, and some more photo etch parts who will give us the interior structure basically of this gear bay. So one of the things, I couldn't use any clamp on those wings, so I had to use some more adhesive tape to get everything into position, to make sure that the bond was really glued correctly. After that, we're gonna put the rudder pedal and the stick, the pilot stick for that aircraft, and then we're gonna paint it out again with that green color. So now we're gonna close our cockpit, but before that we're gonna use some access panel lines once again, and then we're gonna put it toward our fuselage, do the little adjustment because there was a little bit of a fitting. We had to work a little bit hard to find the right balance, and after that we're gonna glue it together, let it dry, and once it's dry we're gonna start adding all the putty to fill up all the gaps. So we're back now to the sanding board, of course, and we're gonna remove all that extra white putty to make sure that all the panel lines and everything has been nice and smooth, and we're gonna be able to move on to that build. So we're now getting close to the final assembly, basically. So we have basically an air intake that we need to fix under the belly. So it needed to be prepared, of course. And after that, we're going to fix it under the belly of our Hurricane. And then there will be some other parts to fix. And then we're going to start working out on the clear part. So that's going to be a pretty easy job, I have to say, as the clear part were fitting very well. Not a lot of adjustment or fiddling around, so which is really good, because when you have those parts, they are very sensitive to glue and other things. So after that, we're going to move on to our paint booth. So we're going to start that painting by basically painting that green color around the cockpit, the windscreen. And then we're going to protect all our parts, and we're going to do that also on the canopy. Then the next step will be basically to paint the underbelly of the aircraft, and for that I use a light gray. That's a normal mix of white and gray color from Tamiya. And then we're going to be able to work on some other parts of the plane. So basically we're going to paint the propeller in matte black, and once this will be over, and that's going to take a little bit of time, we're going to be able to paint the tip in yellow color. So I had to put some masking tapes around basically the camouflage part, and if you saw my previous video, which I did on the Spitfire, you will be able to see how to do this. So I'm using normally some blue tack to have basically a nice dégradé between the brown and the green, and that's allowed to have straight edge basically on the camouflage part. And after that you cover the rest with some adhesive tapes, and that gives us a pretty nice result. So that's what I had to use for that Hurricane. Then of course we'll use and we'll paint the canopy once again with the darker green, and that's pretty nice. Then what we're gonna do, we're gonna start painting we're gonna paint the exhaust pipe. But for these I use a mix of metallic color and rust pigments that I mix together. And now it's finally the time of start decaling, the decaling process. And I use the decals of Eduard, and that's I have to say they were fine enough. They were very easy to work with, not too fragile, and they were responding pretty well to decal softener as well. So nothing really major. So we're now going to add also some more details. I was forgetting to put those red rectangles basically just around the gun bay. So I did some mask, and then I use the regular my regular paintbrush, and I have to say that the results were quite decent. I have nothing really to complain about that. Then we'll start working on the undercarriage as well. We'll have to paint the struts with a metallic color, and then we'll start preparing the wheels and the tires on the aircraft. So after finishing the last small structure decals, we're going to start painting our tires around the wheels. And for this I use the standard matte black from Tamiya to replicate the rubber. So after that, of course, we'll move on toward the tail wheel of the Hurricane, and now it's going to be started to do some weathering. So I use that new technique. Basically I put a little piece of a sponge inside and I dip it lightly in that metallic color, and that replicate basically the chip, the metal chip basically, or the paint chip on the aircraft. So I've been using that initially to make sure that you have that aircraft which is not completely brand new, and to do a little bit of weathering. So after doing this, we're gonna start to do a wash. So I'm using some dark pastel mixed with water and a drop of liquid soap, and basically that's a very forgiving technique to do a wash, because if you're not really happy of the result, you can remove everything by later on by putting a really wet cloth on the model, so you can really wash it out and do it again. So it's a very forgiving technique, and if you don't have enough, if you don't find the plane dirty enough or not good enough, you can still add a little bit wash again, let it dry, and use again that humid cloth to remove all the extra wash. So it's a very good technique, very forgiving, and honestly I would recommend, especially for beginners. We're now going to move on to the smoke basically, and the powder track. So for this I use my makeup tool, and I will try to replicate basically all the extra gunpowder on the gun bay, and of course around the exhaust pipes and on the fuselage to replicate the smoke. So I've been using that, and then later on you will see I'm using as well some pigment, some dark pigments. So I've been putting that basically on I'm dipping it my sponge and trying to use that around the fuselage, and I have to say that it gives a pretty acceptable result. So now we're gonna move on toward the last part. We're gonna add the landing lights, and that required a little bit of extra work, so it was really a little bit too big, so we had to do some adjustments, and I've been using the clothes basically to force it in like that. I avoid to have any gaps or anything left toward that. And then we're gonna add the propeller, and you can now see the final result of that Hurricane Mark 1 from the Profi pack of Eduard. I have to say that I really enjoyed that build. If you did so, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you soon for another build or another kit review. Thank you for watching.